When a black man tried to board a private jet, the pilot blocked his way, certain he didn't belong. Moments later, the pilot discovered the shocking truth about who he had just insulted. Malcolm Hayes pulled his Tesla into the private airport's VIP parking lot. It had been a long week, filled with endless board meetings and strategy sessions for his luxury aviation company, Skywing. Now, he was flying to a conference in Miami to close the biggest deal of his career. Wearing a casual hoodie, jeans, and sneakers, his usual weekend attire, Malcolm preferred comfort over formality when he traveled. He grabbed his leather carry-on bag, locked the car, and headed toward the sleek hangar where his jet waited. Inside, the hum of jet engines filled the air. Pilots in crisp uniforms strode purposefully, and ground crew members scurried between aircraft. Malcolm's Gulfstream G650 stood out, its polished exterior gleaming under the afternoon sun. As he approached, a tall, gray-haired pilot stood near the boarding stairs, clipboard in hand. The pilot's eyes narrowed as Malcolm got closer. "Excuse me," the pilot said, stepping in front of Malcolm. His tone was sharp, almost dismissive. "This is a private jet. You can't be here." Malcolm paused, taken aback. "I know. This is my jet." The pilot's lips tightened into a thin line. "Your jet? That's funny. Who are you?" Malcolm's jaw clenched, but he kept his voice calm. "Malcolm Hayes. I'm the owner of Skywing Aviation. This Gulfstream belongs to me." The pilot let out a derisive laugh.
Right.
"Look, I don't know what game you're playing, but I suggest you leave before security gets involved." A few heads turned as nearby staff overheard the exchange. Malcolm felt a familiar surge of frustration but tamped it down. He had faced moments like this before, moments where people judged him by the color of his skin rather than his accomplishments. "Call your supervisor," Malcolm said evenly. "Or better yet, call Anna Lambert. She's my assistant. She'll clear this up." The pilot, his name tag read Captain Richard Porter, didn't move. Instead, he looked Malcolm up and down, his eyes lingering on the sneakers. "I don't need to call anyone. I've been flying for this company for 20 years, and I've never seen you before. Frankly, you don't look like someone who owns a jet like this." Malcolm's grip tightened on his carry-on. He took a slow breath. "And what exactly does someone who owns a jet look like?" Before Captain Porter could respond, Malcolm pulled out his phone and dialed Anna. She answered on the first ring. "Mr. Hayes, are you on your way?" Anna's voice was as efficient as ever. "I'm here," Malcolm said, his tone clipped. "But your pilot seems to think I don't belong." There was a pause. Given the phone, Malcolm handed the phone to Porter. "It's for you?" The pilot hesitated before taking the phone. "Hello? This is Captain Porter." Whatever Anna said on the other end made Porter's face go pale. He stammered a response, handed the phone back, and straightened his posture. I'm sorry, Mr. Hayes. There's been a misunderstanding." "Clearly," Malcolm said, slipping his phone into his pocket. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a flight to catch." Porter stepped aside, his face flushed with embarrassment. Malcolm climbed the stairs and entered the jet, but the encounter left a bitter taste in his mouth. He had spent years building Skywing into a premier aviation company, breaking barriers in an industry where people like him were rare. Yet moments like this reminded him how much further there was to go. Once they were airborne, Malcolm sat in the plush leather seat, gazing out at the clouds. He thought about letting the ensign go, but something nagged at him. This wasn't just about him. It was about the assumptions and biases that still lingered in society. After landing in Miami, Malcolm made a decision. He called Anna. "Schedule a meeting with Captain Porter when I get back. And reach out to HR. I want to implement diversity and bias training for all staff. This kind of thing can't happen again." A week later, back at the company's headquarters, Captain Porter sat stiffly in Malcolm's office. The room was modern and minimalist, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the city. "Captain Porter," Malcolm began, his voice steady but firm. "Do you know why I asked you here?" Porter nodded, his face tense. "I want to apologize, Mr. Hayes. I made assumptions that were completely out of line. It was unprofessional and, frankly, unacceptable." Malcolm leaned forward. Do you understand why what you did was wrong? Porter hesitated. I judged you based on your appearance. I didn't take the time to verify anything before making a decision. It was wrong, and I'm deeply sorry. Malcolm studied him for a moment before nodding. I accept your apology. But apologies alone aren't enough. This isn't just about you and me. It's about creating a culture where this kind of bias doesn't exist. That's why I'm implementing mandatory diversity training for everyone at Skywing, including myself. We all have blind spots, Captain. The key is recognizing them and doing the work to change. Porter's expression softened. I appreciate that, sir. And I'll do better. Thank you for giving me the chance. Malcolm stood, extending his hand. Let's make sure this is the last time we have a conversation like this. Porter shook his hand firmly. It will be. As Porter left the office, Malcolm sat back in his chair, feeling a mix of emotions. He had every right to fire the man, but that wasn't the kind of leader he wanted to be. Change didn't come from punishment. It came from education and understanding. Later that evening, Malcolm boarded his jet once again, this time greeted with a respectful nod from Captain Porter. As the plane soared into the sky, Malcolm couldn't help but feel a sense of hope. One small step, he thought. But even small steps could lead to big changes. Subscribe to our channel for soul-stirring stories.